Zodiac.
The Zodiac Killer.
The Zodiac.
The Zodiac.
Killing people. It's more fun than hunting wild animals in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. When I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and those I have killed will become my slaves. They say a man's greatest fear is the unknown, that which he cannot see nor predict. And he made sure to become fear itself. The Zodiac Killer was no ordinary murderer. He was an enigmatic and ruthless mind that spread fear across California in the late 1960s. A cold, methodical man who found pleasure in playing twisted games with law enforcement and the media, sending letters, ciphers, and threats. Many of them remain unsolved to this day. His victims, young couples, lonely passers-by, people who had nothing in common except for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was never caught, and even now, decades later, the case of the Zodiac remains one of the darkest and most puzzling chapters in the history of crime. Stay with me, because in today's video, we will walk step by step through his crimes, examine the real evidence, hear the testimonies, and attempt to sketch the psychological profile of a man who became a legend for all the wrong reasons.
Now love waits for you to sleep.
So, sit back and let me tell you a story.
'Cause you may never see that friend.
It was a quiet, almost frozen night. December 20th, 1968. A young couple, 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and 17-year-old David Faraday, stopped their car at the well-known Lover's Lane in the Lake Herman Road area, just outside Vallejo, California. It's a Friday, just days before Christmas. The air smells like winter and carries that heavy, suffocating silence, foretelling something dark. Inside the car, Betty Lou laughs. David holds her hand. They whisper. Nothing suggests that, just minutes later, their names will be written in the darkest chapters of American crime. Shortly before 11 p.m., a car stops behind them. It has no lights on. A man gets out. He approaches them. There is no warning. Suddenly, gunshots. David takes a bullet to the head, almost point blank. He dies instantly. Betty Lou tries to escape. She runs out, panicked. She doesn't get far. 5 bullets hit her in the back. She falls dead a few meters away on the frozen ground. The police arriving at the scene can't quite grasp what they face. No fingerprints, no DNA. Only a few shell casings and 2 lifeless bodies that, hours earlier, were talking about the future. This was just the beginning. Several months later, July 4th, 1969, Independence Day. Blue Rock Springs Park, again near Vallejo. Lit by fireworks in the sky. Inside a brown car are 22-year-old Darlene Farron and 19-year-old Mike Mageau. It's just before midnight. A car approaches, stops behind them. The driver gets out, holding a flashlight. He knocks on the window. Then, without a word, he starts shooting. Darlene takes 5 bullets. She dies on the spot. Mike, though seriously wounded, survives. And then something chilling happens. At 12:40 a.m., the Vallejo Police Department receives a phone call. The man's voice is cold.
I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you'll find 2 kids in a brown car. They've been shot. I did it.
Horror becomes a public spectacle. The media flood with headlines. The public is terrified. Police phone lines overflow with strangers claiming to be Zodiac. Some mentally disturbed, others just thirsty for attention. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa. 22-year-old Cecilia Shepard and 20-year-old Brian Hartnell are having a picnic near the water. A man approaches them. He wears a black hood. On his chest, a symbol, the circle with the Zodiac's cross. He threatens them with a gun. He ties them up, and then he stabs them. Brian survives. Cecilia dies hours later. It was the first and only time the Zodiac used a knife. Soon after, he calls the Napa County Police. I want to report a murder. They are at Lake Berryessa. I did it. October 11, 1969, Presidio Heights, San Francisco. One of the quietest and wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. 29-year-old cab driver Paul Stein is shot in the head from behind inside his vehicle. The killer tears a piece of his blood-soaked shirt and takes it with him. A few days later, a new letter arrives at the police station. Inside, a piece of Paul's shirt, proof that the real killer is writing. Zodiac writes again and again, with threats, sarcasm, ciphers. In one letter, he says he will kill children if his letter isn't published. In another, he draws a bomb, claims he'll strike a school bus. His letters are full of spelling mistakes, dark humor, wordplay. His language? Cold, arrogant, condescending. He demands nothing, only that everyone fears his name. Barbara Anderson, a criminologist and expert in serial killer profiling, studied his letters and concluded,
The Zodiac Killer wasn't just a murderer. He was a man with a complex psychological profile, which is revealed through his behavior, his methods, and how he interacted with authorities and victims. First of all, he was a methodical and cold-blooded killer who carefully planned his attacks. He wasn't impulsive or random. Every move had purpose and meaning. His victim selection seemed random on the surface, but it's clear he wanted to instill fear across society, targeting people who could be anyone. The way he communicated with police and the media, through encrypted messages and taunts, shows a man who wanted to assert dominance not just through violence, but through intellect. He was mentally devoted to a cat and mouse game, enjoying the control it gave him. Psychologically, the Zodiac displayed traits of a psychopath with a strong need for attention and dominance. He likely lacked empathy and enjoyed the fear he provoked, while his cryptic messages emphasized his desire for intellectual superiority. At the same time, his ability to evade capture and vanish completely indicates a highly organized person, someone who understood his pursuers' psychology and how to mislead them. In summary, he was a cold, calculating criminal who used fear, uncertainty, and provocation as weapons. The Zodiac's profile is that of a solitary and ruthless man, driven by the need to control and dominate through terror.
Zodiac wasn't just a killer. He was a man with a complex psychological profile. Cold, methodical, calculating. His need for control drove him not only to kill, but to play with society itself. He wanted to be present, even when he wasn't holding a weapon. He wanted to speak of death, define it, control it. He wanted to become a myth. Over the years, dozens of suspects were examined, but no one was ever formally charged. Arthur Lee Allen, the most famous suspect, a disgraced school teacher fired for molesting children, owned a Zodiac brand watch with the same symbol the killer used, was left-handed as the crime suggested, told friends he wanted to become the most famous serial killer in California. But the DNA didn't match, nor did the fingerprints. Richard Gaikowski, journalist, had an interest in cryptic language. His voice was recognized by a police officer from an old Zodiac phone call, but nothing concrete. Lawrence Kane, former military man, had a brain injury that affected his judgment. One of the survivors, Kathleen Johns, identified him from a photo, but again, not enough. Ross Sullivan, a reclusive student with dark thoughts, present near the first crime, never interrogated. Gary Francis Posty. In 2021, an independent team of investigators claimed he was the Zodiac, but the FBI and police dismissed the theory. Maybe Zodiac was one of them. Maybe he was someone else, someone who still breathes beside us. His last confirmed letter was sent in 1974. After that, silence. Did he stop? Did he die? Was he arrested under another name? Or maybe he simply had his fill of blood. No one ever found out. Epilogue. Zodiac wasn't just a killer. He was a man without a face who turned fear into narrative. A ghost with a pen, a monster with a smile. People don't remember him just because he killed, but because he made darkness speak, and his voice still whispers in every dark corner of the world. Maybe we'll never know who he was. Maybe that was his plan all along, to become immortal in terror.